Hello and welcome. My name is John. This video will cover the general proceedings for Model United Nations Conference. These proceedings will be applied wherever applicable, except in certain committees, most notably the International Court of Justice. The succeeding episode, or the following episode, will cover special points, like points of information, points of personal privilege, etc., that are not really related to the main operation of the conference. Do remember that the dais has final say in how the session goes. The dais may, at their own discretion, accept or reject motions to keep the general flow of the discussion in theme with the selected topics, to accommodate time restrictions, etc. At the beginning of the conference, the chairperson will conduct a roll call to assess how many delegates are present. The chairperson will call upon the name of each country, and whenever the delegate of that specific country hears the name of the country, they are supposed to raise their placard and say present. In Model United Nations, each committee is generally assigned 2 topics. That said, in each session, only 1 topic will be discussed. Delegates propose to set the agenda at the beginning of the conference. They say the motion, and delegates vote whether to accept that motion or to reject it. The above events, roll call and setting the agenda, have to take place in that specific order. The following events can take place in any order, and they can take place multiple times. The following events referring to speakers list, moderated caucus, and unmoderated caucus. So these are not really in a static order. So we can have a speakers list, then another speakers list, then unmod. That's the colloquial name for unmoderated caucuses. Then we could move to mod. That's the colloquial name for moderated caucuses. Then back to a speakers list, and so on and so forth. So keep that in mind. And you can have a sort of general idea for what motions you want to place. That said, your plan might not be accepted by the rest of the committee, and so it's important to be flexible. Speakers list is when delegates will make speeches. A delegate will motion to open the speakers list on a specific topic, and delegates will vote whether to accept or reject this motion. Delegates will also vote to set a speaking time. Delegates wishing to speak then raise their placards. The delegate who opened the speakers list will always speak on this speakers list, and they will always speak first. The rest of the delegates will speak in order of placard raised, but if that's not possible, other orders may be followed at the discretion of the dais. Speeches in speakers list tend to be short, around 60 to 90 seconds. These speeches are aimed at laying out the country's perspective. It is not recommended to use these speeches to attack other countries. Additionally, since speakers list can happen multiple times in the same session, you can vary your speeches depending on what happens in the conference. So the first speakers list might be just an introduction of the country's perspective or the country's solutions, and then later on you might go through a moderated and unmoderated caucus. We'll get to that. And there might be some changes. Maybe you set up an alliance with some country. And so in the next speakers list, if there is one, you could introduce the alliance, you could state the aims of the alliance, who's in it, what you guys want to achieve, what you guys have already achieved, etc. If you finish your speech and you still have time left, you can either yield it to the dais, so the time's gone, or you can yield your time to X, a certain number of points of information. These are questions from other delegates directed to you based on the contents of your speech. So delegates should not use these points of information to attack another delegate. They should merely use them for clarification on the points raised in the delegate's speech. Points of information will be covered in more detail in the next episode. Moderated caucus is the main debate component of Model United Nations. Delegates propose to open this component and set a total time and a speaking time. Delegates vote on this proposal. Please ensure that the speaking time is a factor of the total time. So if we have a total time of, let's say, 30 minutes, we should have a speaking time that's a factor of 30. So let's say 5 minutes. it would be awkward to have a speaking time of, say, 7 minutes and a total time of 30 minutes, because then either you're not going to have enough delegates to speak in that moderated caucus, or one delegate is going to lose their time. As you speak in moderated caucus, delegates can ask you questions or they can object. They will need permission from the dais to speak. In moderated caucus, you can really shine. You can really defend your position. You can highlight the weaknesses of other countries. You can work on introducing your position in a way that opens you up to diplomacy with other countries. Maybe with what you say here, another delegate might hear it and they might like the sound of that, and they might meet up with you in unmoderated caucus. I'll get to that. And you guys could work together on an alliance. Unmoderated caucus is where we actually meet the main goal of Model United Nations, and that is to propose solutions to the problem at hand. Delegates vote on whether to open the caucus. Delegates also vote on a caucus time. If the caucus is open, delegates can walk around and freely discuss their ideas with other delegates. So you wouldn't need permission from the dais to speak. You can just walk up to that delegate and say whatever you want to say. You can start drafting your resolutions. You can form alliances. Now you can really find out your similarities and differences with other delegates. When drafting resolutions, it's important to remember to not bring a draft from home. Resolutions are supposed to be drafted in the conference. When you draft a resolution, you can either draft the resolution on your own, or you can work together with other delegates. This will be covered in more detail in 1.2.5. After these phases, which can happen as many times as the conference and the time allow, the committee will move to resolution presentations and voting. Each sponsor, that is, the author of the resolution or group of authors, will explain their resolution. While they do so, other delegates may ask questions or introduce amendments. After a delegate presents the resolution, other delegates may propose amendments. If the presenting delegate or delegates agree, the amendment is introduced without a vote. Since they all agree, there's no need for any vote, and the amendment is put right in there. But if the presenting delegate disagrees, or if it's a group of delegates and there's no consensus among them whether to agree or not, a vote is held, and if the vote is successful, the amendment is forcibly introduced into the resolution. After all resolutions are presented, the dais displays each resolution and takes a vote. Delegates may abstain from voting. This means that instead of voting in favor or against the resolution, you just say, I'm neutral, and you don't take a position. Delegates can vote in favor or against multiple resolutions, and multiple resolutions can pass. Resolutions with a majority of 51% or more pass. Other thresholds may apply depending on the conference and the committee rules set by the Secretariat. After resolutions are voted for, the debate is closed. Congratulations on finishing a whole Model United Nations conference. The order of events in a Model United Nations conference is likely very similar to other debate events. That said, it can still feel overwhelming, especially given the structured sense of the debate. Make sure to focus during practice sessions, and with time, this order of proceedings will become second nature to you. If you want to learn more about the exact phrasing to be used, check out the final AJBMUN script document. You can ask the Secretariat to send you the file. If it helps, you can keep a copy of it with you to refer to during the session. We wish you the very best of luck.